There we go.
There you are.
Hello, everyone. Here we are for our December chapter Zoom meeting for the Tesla Owners Club of Ontario. I'm in my new room with my newly installed Tesla Art that I took me quite a while to find and used to be up at my office, but now I work at home. So a little bit of trivia. I won't bore you too much, but the Model 3, which is, where is that? Here, wherever. Most people got that with the Model 3. The Model X, I had to trade that. I had two Model 3s and I traded somebody for the Model X. And I found somebody with a Roadster, a good buddy of mine. I think it might have been Zeb, Mark, that sent me the Roadster. And I also traded somebody online. I think I might have had two Model X's because I went to the intro for the Model S, which is like pretty rare. So sort of got my video room set up here, just going through the throes of trying to update it. So yeah. So let's get rolling here. For any new members, I'm John Dixon, President of Tesla Owners Club. We thought we'd just jump through a few quick slides here. There's just a few basic questions that people have asked the club when they signed up. And then we're going to jump into the handsome Mr. Mark Tipping. We call him Tippo. There you go, down in Australia. So let's go back to screen share. And okay, so I normally do this every meeting, just give you an idea of what's happening with growth with the club. We're up to 1,061 members. I actually just checked 10 minutes ago. We're actually 1,063. So this was done this afternoon around noon. So we've had two more members sign up. Unprecedented growth. As many of you may or may not know, we hit 1,000 towards the end of October. And we're cranking, as you can see, in November to now. We've added that 25 or 27 members already, and a lot of that is coming through these social media platforms. So Twitter's up a little bit. This is the official Facebook group only for official members, and Instagram. And we do a great job. Anise and her team do a great job at doing the social media to keep club awareness. I think that helps. And today I looked at somebody said they just Googled looking for an owners club and they found us. We found people that have found us with our logo and information on the trash bins at some of the service centers and things like that. So certainly some great growth there. Just a little bit of news. I saw this the other day, and I don't know if anybody else has seen this. And now if you're navigating to a supercharger, and when you look on your main screen and you see the supercharger, and it'll have a number on it, and that shows you in red how many stalls are available. And when you click it, it'll say 14 of 16 stalls available, 150 kilowatts or whatever. Now, apparently it used to say, one or two out of order. And you might want to experiment with this, but now it'll actually show you which stalls are down. So before you pull in there, you don't get people having to pull up to a supercharger, plug in, and realize it's not working and have to move, especially a busier one. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. And I can say, I don't know if we see it much here, but there was discussions on some of the clubs and on social media about should they take the supercharger cable and twist it and loop it through the hole in the top to indicate that it's broken. And a lot of people think that's the right thing to do, but Tesla asking us not to do that because apparently it can damage the cable. So hopefully this will help with that notification. A little bit of club news. Some of you may not be aware of this, but we had the full free year last year for anybody that signed up in 2020, November 2020 or earlier, got a 2-year membership. And anybody that signed up prior to that got a free year last year. We sort of did that with COVID and not being as active. So starting just a few days ago, December 1st, your annual dues now are commenced again, and they come due on the date that you actually signed up originally. So we've already had a few people go through. If anybody's changed their credit card information or something like that, we will get a notification. It'll notify you 2 or 3 times to please correct that. And if not, then we'll get a notification so we can contact you directly. So that's a little update there. The other thing is, so people have asked, there was a couple of questions we asked people when they sign up for the RSVP for these meetings, if they have any questions for us as well as speakers like Mark. And somebody asked, do we record these sessions? And yes, they are recorded. So I believe you're going to see pretty well every recording. It looks like this, and they're in our member zone. We're maybe a few weeks behind the end of the meeting, getting it edited and up there, but every meeting does go in there. So if you can't see a meeting and you want to go back and look at them, they are in our member zone for further viewing. So I just want to make sure you knew that. What else? Well, we're on this page real quick. People have asked when we're going to get together in person. We did a poll on that. I know we've been back and forth. We're really hoping to make the first in-person meeting, a bang-up meeting. We've had the people at Tesla agree that they will come out and speak to us. And I'd like to get the three senior people here in Ontario or in Canada to come and speak to us. Many of you have already heard from Steve Hitchinson, who's the head of the Supercharger team. Jamie Wolf, who's also spoken to us. She's head of sales and delivery. And Dustin Leach is the head of Eastern Region Service, and they've all agreed to speak to us. We've just got to get their schedules lined up for 3 people on the same night. We'll probably go to the same location we did just prior to the pandemic, but we want to wait maybe for a few months and just get past the holidays and see how the pandemic is going, and then see if we can line up the Tesla staff and then get back to in-person meetings when we can. But we also committed that we will continue doing these Zoom meeting recordings of any live meetings that we do. So I know as we grow, these meetings that we're doing on Zoom are very popular because we get a lot of people outside of the GTA that don't find it convenient to come to our meetings in person. So we will continue to record those. Not sure if they'll be live. We'll have to figure that out, or if they'll be still recorded for viewing shortly thereafter, but we'll figure that out for you. What else? Somebody's asked, is the FSD subscription, what is it in Canada? The FSD monthly subscription is not available in Canada yet. I checked with Jamie. She's going to try to find out further why, or if we have any time frame, but the monthly subscription is not available here yet. And I can't answer why, but we'll see if anything we find out, we'll let you know on that. I think that's about it sort of for overall questions. And a little bit of news we would have liked to have more items, but with the supply chain challenges everywhere, some of the jackets and things like that we wanted to get aren't available right away, and we're still working on that. But we have put 2 new items in our shop, so the shop's up to actually 8 items now, I believe. So we've added the knit toque with our logo. I think it comes in black and white, and we've also added the long sleeve T-shirt in black and white. So those are available in the shop right away. And we also now have an option that'll say local pickup. I think, Paul, do you want to chime in there? Is that going to be made for everybody, or how are we doing that?
Yep, it's for anyone who wants to save on shipping. If you live in the GTA and you don't mind driving to Oakville, that's where our supplier is. So you can select local pickup in Oakville and arrange with Blair to pick up your order.
Right. Because we were concerned if you're ordering just a couple of small items that maybe the shipping is too much. And believe me, we went through the shipping every way but sideways, and we have to go through Shopify. There's no way to reduce it the way it is right now. So as Paul said, if you want to go pick it up locally in Oakville, you can do that as an option. So what else? What's going on here? The fundraiser. The fundraiser is well underway. Hopefully you're most aware of this by now. You've seen an email come out from me, and we've also put this on social media. We did this last year. It was very successful. I encourage you to, if you haven't looked at my email in detail, please look at it. We also did an extensive video with me interviewing the lady from Feed Ontario, but we edited that down to only about 2 minutes, so you can get a quick overview of exactly where the food goes to. Feed Ontario basically coordinates all of the food banks in Ontario. So we really think it's a good cause for everyone. We think it's great, especially during the pandemic. So there's some more challenges than normal. And last year we raised, I think, $21,700. That's with a contribution by the club once we got to a certain amount. And this year we've set the target at $25,000. Right now we are about 25% of our target so far. So I encourage you to please look at that. Any amount, and you can be anonymous if you don't want say, where it came from, but whether it's $10, $25, $50, whatever, any amount will certainly help. We've also forwarded this on to Tesla staff. We forwarded it on to the sponsors. We believe they might try to set up a few little campaigns within our fundraiser on their own to share it amongst their own staff and employees. And the other thing is we've got a few sponsors, and we're working on some more to donate prizes, which again, I elaborate on my email about. For anybody that donates, of course, we need your name to get a hold of you, but you're going to be in a draw for a prize. There's dinner for two. There's a $500 online shop credit for Tesla that's only good to the end of January, and a few other things. So again, I just bring that up. We think it's a great cause. We moved from the toy drive because it was too GTA centric to this fundraiser because it's right across Ontario. And I really think it's a worthwhile cause. So I just encourage you to do that. Again, I'd like to thank the sponsors now because inevitably, especially a number of months ago, I'd always go through the whole presentation. Our guest speaker would talk and then I'd forget to thank the sponsors. So maybe have a look, Mark. We got some pretty interesting sponsors there. Henson Shaving, fairly new sponsor. Have a look. It's a Canadian straight razor company. We have financial companies. We've got Shift Electric Vehicles. By the way, people have asked me many times recently about snow tires and wheels. So we have Shift actually sell snow tires, wheels, as well as used EVs. Evolution, especially with Bruno Santos, they sell snow tires and wheels, I think. You've got quite a few of these other companies that do wraps and body shops. Also, Wheels Co. sells snow tires and wheels. And I think there's still a pretty good supply right now. I know last time I spoke to Cal, they still did have some Nokians in certain sizes, which are one of the more popular tires for Tesla owners. And not finished yet. So there's still, again, a combination here of body shops, insurance companies, fair trade jewelry company, et cetera. So again, I want to thank them very much. Their funds help us contribute to the fundraising, help us with things like the topping up your contribution towards the drive-in and that type of thing. So again, I want to thank them very much for what they do for the club. That's about it. There he is. Put your contacts in, Mark. Oh, sorry.
I can't see now. Sorry.
So Mark, I've known for a number of years. He's a great guy. How long have you been the president of Owners Club down there, Mark?
3 elections so far.
So 3 years at least.
Yeah, 3.5 years. Yes.
3.5 years. He's also going to move my little video screen here. He's the CEO of Edison Projects Australia. He's going to talk about that a little bit. I know he also works in some top secret stuff that he might not be able to get into, but he gets involved in high density, safe, simple energy generation and storage solutions. He's hopefully going to talk to us about all of that, as well as his Tesla Owners on Australia Club. Mark, I don't know if I ever told you this, but your predecessor was Jude, I believe, correct?
Yep, that's correct, yes.
So lovely. I don't know, somehow a number of years ago, I stumbled across the Facebook group before you were an official club. And I sent her a message. I sent her a message and said, are you aware there's an official club? And gave her William's information. I think that's sort of what got the catalyst going. So we did that with a few clubs worldwide. So we're glad to get more people on board here. But
that's exactly right. Jude was... There was a group of us, and Jude grabbed that by the horns and ran with it.
Yeah. So Mark's got over 2,000 members. It runs pretty well countrywide. He has chapters, and hopefully he'll talk to us a little bit about things that he has on the go. He's got, I don't know if the first people that were on there a little bit early might have heard that they've actually made, show us on the screen, buddy. They've made Musk vodka.
I was going to get to that one.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll tantalize people, and then you can get to it later on in your discussion. So go ahead, man. It's all yours now.
Thanks, John.
Stop my screen share, and we'll just hopefully see you.
Oh, well. Okay. Get your sunglasses on, please. All right, so a little bit let's talk about TOCA to start with, about the Tesla Owners Club of Australia.
Yeah, we say TOCO. We're like, what? TOCA? TOCO.
Yeah, TOCA, as in Tesla Owners Club Australia. Yes,
yeah,
we are a national club. To quote some of the numbers around, we are about 2,000 members, soon to exceed that. Our Facebook page, which is a closed page only to our members, has 1,100 people on it. I don't know how many people are on Twitter because I just got booted off it again. So no, not banned, I should say. It's logged me out to re-log in. I don't know what my password is because I'm not a Twitter user. And we've got 1,200 odd people on Instagram, just shy of as well. So TOCA, the Australian club, as opposed to Alabama or somewhere else, is a little bit unique in many ways. We are a national club, and actually we can claim that we're the largest club in the Tesla Owners Club program geographically. So because we do cover the whole of Australia. And to do so is quite interesting itself because Australia, like Canada, is a very large country. In fact, we're an island country continent all at once. And we have the one club that represents all owners. And so we've had to do a few things a little bit differently to make the club relevant and keep it relevant to all owners. And in that regard, what we've done is that we've set the club up as a national body with a committee of some 15 people for the club. And we've created state chapters as well. John, you've disappeared.
I'm still here.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I just wanted to pick my nose or something like that. I didn't want everybody to
yeah, I know. Now I'm just talking to a little Tesla Owners Ontario side.
There you go.
There you go. So we've set the club up with what we call state chapters. And each state chapter, so we've got obviously for every state and territory in Australia, there's 8 main ones, has their own chapter, has their own leader or president. What they call themselves is up to them, and their own little subcommittees as well. And we've done this so that we have a local focus, but a national strength. And the national strength comes in handy when it comes dealing with Tesla and others as well. So the club itself, we've got 4 official office bearer roles. We are an incorporated association as well. We charge membership fees and the like. We have our president, vice president, secretary, and our treasurer are the office bearers. We're the guys who are legally responsible and legally accountable for the club and to our members. On top of that, we have a position held in the committee for a state representative from each state. So what that means is that our larger states, such as New South Wales or Victoria, have a seat at the table, but our smaller states, such as the Northern Territory, which I think is about 15% of the surface area of Australia and has a population of you can count on a couple of hands. And I think we've got 5 members all up, but they get a seat at the table as well. And we found that that was important to get clear representation. And also, we don't want to have the club disintegrating into 8 different clubs because then we lose our influence with Tesla. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So from that, we also did a couple other things because you just can't jump in the car and pop over to Perth easily. We decided that to get a national club feeling, that a couple of years ago we created our national event calendar, and what it means is that on the same day each month, or on a day each month, we will have all the states organised the same style of event. So, I'm not sure about you guys, but visits to wineries seem to be very popular with our owners.
We've done
so
one. We had another plan, and then the pandemic hit. So,
yes. So we would organise a national calendar. Obviously, going back, it's been strangled, and some states could do it while other states were in lockdown. For those of us in Victoria, well, the most lockdown city in the world is Melbourne. But we would organise it so that everybody would do a winery lunch on the same day, and we'd all post our photos. And it was as close as we could get to doing a national event where everybody could attend whilst being distributed up to 4,000 kilometres away from each other. So we do things like that, and naturally we also hold our Zoom meetings as well. A lot of those are around boot camps, which are very popular. And then we'll do things about outback travel.
Sorry, Mark. So boot camps are for newcomers?
For new owner boot camps, yeah. But they're also attended by owners that have owned vehicles for 4, 5, 6 years as well. I think it's just part of the camaraderie of I want to go and chat to people and share my knowledge. So yeah, so we do the new owner boot camps. They're very popular. We do those monthly. We do charging sessions as well. I don't know about yourselves, but our Tesla Supercharger network is pretty sparse here in Australia. The East Coast is looking pretty good. You can now drive from Brisbane, well, actually the Sunshine Coast, which is north of Brisbane. I'm hoping that everyone's okay with their geography on down under. Around the coast to as far as the Clare Valley, which is just past Adelaide. And then there's a massive jump to 3 superchargers locations in Perth. So you've got 2,500 kilometres there with no superchargers to get to Western Australia. And then if you want to come around the top end to get back, you're looking at about 12,000 kilometres of no superchargers to come around the top end as well.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of members would say they wish the superchargers had better coverage here. I don't want to make you jealous, but about 2 years ago, we actually had our last in-person Zoom meeting with the supercharger head of supercharging, and they had just put the supercharger network right across Canada with V3s. So you can literally go from Vancouver Island to Moncton, New Brunswick on superchargers now. So I don't know. Maybe they like me better than you, although I doubt that.
No. That's probably the case. But on top of that, I think there's a couple more Canadians than there are Australians who are owners at the moment.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh.
So 7 years ago, yesterday was the official launch and first deliveries of the Model S in Australia. And so we had a couple of roadsters that were brought in privately. Simon Hackett, who's on the board of the National Broadband Network and a few other things, was our first owner and actually broke a world record about 12 years ago of the longest distance travelled on one charge in an EV when he did 540 kilometres in his Roadster.
What, at like 40 kilometres an hour?
You got it. And he also drove the car from Darwin to his home in Adelaide, so straight down the middle of Australia. Wow. And he did that by having a budget renter truck with a diesel generator.
Oh, jeez.
So this truck followed the Roadster all the way down the country. Anyway, but our
first deliveries were about 9 years ago because I took mine in December. Some of us did. And so it's you guys are about 2 years behind us probably in a lot of the models.
Yeah, that's it. And that works out about the same, with the Model 3 and things like that. Yeah. Even though the first place in the world that you could order a Model 3 was in Sydney and Melbourne stores.
Yeah, I guess.
Remember, you had to go into the store. And I remember walking by, because I didn't reserve a Model 3 on the day, walking by at the day before to see people already camping out.
Yeah.
And there was one guy at St. Leonard's, which is the Sydney store at the time, who stayed there for 4 days so that he was first in the queue. And Tesla, being the organisation that they were back then, actually delayed the Melbourne store taking the first order so that this guy who'd sat outside the store for 4 days in Sydney got to order the first Model 3 in Australia, which I thought was pretty kind.
Yeah.
We digress. But, John, if you could bring up the supercharger map for Australia from Tesla's website, it might help people have an idea.
Here. Just give me
sorry to spin that one on you.
No, it's okay. I can hopefully maneuver my internet here. Hang on.
Yep. So when you see the map, guys, you'll see that there are big gaps. And it's a lot better than it was 4 years ago. 4.5 years ago, we decided to pair up with the Australian Electric Vehicle Association, which is an association that's been around for about 30 years. It's generally your engineers and geeks who love to convert cars to electric, and but it's good. It's a fairly well organised and well run association. We paired up with them to create what we called the Round Australia Electric Highway. And the Round Australia Electric Highway is a series of the old ubiquitous. Do you have 32 amp 3-phase power in Canada? I think you do, don't you?
I don't know. I don't know if it's three phase, but we do. I don't know much about that, but we definitely have 32 amp. Mike,
Okay, so all of every workshop in Australia has a 32 amp three phase to run their lathes and to run various equipment. You know, your commercial laundry mats and things like that run on that. And it's you know, every roadhouse across the country has 32 amp three phase, etc. So we set out on a mission to put 32 amp three phase plugs accessible to electric vehicles around the country. And we spent a few $1,000s on that little project. And what it meant is that if you chose to drive around Australia, yep,
there you go.
Oh, look at all those grey ones. Oh, you've got the destination. Switch the destination charges off. Thank you. And if you zoom out on that a little bit, it'll give you an idea. Now, this is today. So go back 4 years ago, and there were about half a dozen up between, it was 6 years ago, actually, that the Sydney to Melbourne route, the first interstate route was opened, and it had 7 charges. You can see there the gap between Adelaide and Perth. It's a little bit sad.
Yeah, wow.
And as I said, if you want to go around the top end, you're not going to be on a supercharger network. We're in the last 12 months, the commercial networks are actually coming to the fore, and obviously getting a bit of funding as well. So things are a lot better. But we decided that we would create a route all the way around Australia for electric vehicles. And we succeeded in that about 4.5 years ago, to the point that Elon retweeted our success, which was a bit of a coup, of course.
So you used third-party chargers? You didn't use like HPWCs or anything?
No, we used, and I don't have one with me, we used 3-phase power sockets. Just a standard.
I don't know if anybody else knows,
socket.
but I'm guessing it's similar to our NEMA 1450 or 1430, something like that.
A 5-pin?
Yeah.
5-pin circular socket. We actually just installed those, and we build adapters to work with your UMC.
Oh, yeah.
And adapters to work with EVSEs as well. So
Wow.
and the club. So we did that. So they're now spaced every 200 kilometers around the entire country, with one gap of 396 kilometers and two gaps of about 300 kilometers. But otherwise, basically any electric car can now drive around Australia.
And how was that funded, Mark?
The club funded it.
Oh, wow.
The club and AVA funded that. And then because we had some spare money, would you believe, we ended up funding the route from Adelaide directly to Darwin via Alice Springs.
Wow.
So you can go around the country or straight up the middle. You can't go from Brisbane to Perth directly, because no vehicle on the planet can go from Brisbane to Perth directly. There's a small desert in the way there. But you can drive around it. The networks are opening up, and we've now hit a really interesting situation where I think that's actually a good size map right there. South Australia has announced their electric highway, and they run the electric highway from Bordertown, which is on the eastern side of the state, all the way to I've forgotten, the Kaluga or something, that's on the Western Australian border. So they've got DC charging running across the state. Western Australia is special.
I know. Probably don't want to go there too much.
No. A number of Western Australians would like to succeed from Australia, and their current premier is an interesting lad. And so they've designed their electric highway, and it's a fabulous highway. It feels out like you can travel virtually anywhere when they've completed it within Western Australia, except it stops 700 kilometres from the border, whether that's the Northern Territory border or the South Australian border. So you can drive, if you're in Western Australia, you can drive around on DC charging everywhere. If you're in South Australia, you can drive all the way to the border, but you've got this 720 kilometre gap. So we sort of thought, that's not going to help unite Australia. That means that our friends in Sydney can't drive to to Perth without having to go back to slower AC charging. So we have now, with our Western Australian president, John is ironically very successful fossil fuel and miner, and who now has retired and is promoting EVs a lot. He developed what we call the biofuel charger, and a biofuel charger was developed out of necessity because he races a Model 3, or he sponsors a Model 3 in the Targa rallies in Western Australia. And they needed faster charging, of course. So he started with bolting a 50 kilowatt tritium DC charger to a massive diesel generator and charging that way. He obviously got a lot of flack about that, as you could imagine, particularly the Murdoch press decided to rip into him. So he modified the diesel generators to run on vegetable oil. And so it's called the biofuel. And we've now placed 3 of those biofuel DC chargers at roadhouses to close that gap. And the model's really good for the business itself. So traditionally a roadhouse would be cooking up a storm with its fryers and charging all the travellers, $15 for a bucket of chips, and then needing to pay to dispose of the oil. What they do now is that when it's time to change the fryer oil, they put it into a filter that cleans it, removes all the chunky bits, and then puts the remaining fluid into the tank for the diesel generator. So the generator runs off used vegetable oil and is then used to charge electric vehicles, which the owner of the electric vehicle now pays the roadhouse to dispose of the oil. So it's a bit of a win-win. The EV can keep driving. The roadhouse can actually dispose of their oil in a relatively cleaner way, because before it was being dumped into landfill or whatever else they were doing with it. And away we go. So these biofuel charges cost around about $100,000 a pop. So wow. the club's sponsoring 2 of those, or contributing to the sponsorship of 2 of those, we should say. John, our president, has funded them. They've actually already been installed. His view was, I want these in, so I'll pay for them. And if we can, raise money through a Chuffed campaign, we will. And that got my creative juices flowing a little bit. And I thought, what can we do that's a little bit unique to raise funds and have a bit of fun? So we went off to, we looked at what we could do, and we ended up coming up with this. Can people see that?
I think so. I just took the map off.
So what this is the Tesla Owners Club of Australia limited edition Musk vodka, made by Mountain Distilling, a local distillery to me, because that's easier that way. And then I got to participate in lots of taste testings. Now, for those of you who used to go to, when you're in primary school, used to buy musk sticks. Were they a thing, John, in Canada? Musk sticks?
I don't know. Is that like incense?
No. They're a lolly. It's a lolly. And
okay.
It's called. They were called very popular in the 70s in Australia, and you can still buy them in the supermarket now. They're literally like a straw length stick of musk flavoring and sugar and things like that.
Okay.
And quite tasty. No, it's not underarm musk and things like that, but it's actually a specific lolly that we have here in Australia anyway. So we have distilled this vodka to taste exactly like those lolly sticks.
Now, is that bottle red or the liquid or the vodka red?
It's the liquid that's red.
Oh, wow.
So that's the color of the liquid itself. I must confess, it tastes very nice, but it also, the first time I tasted it, it took me straight back to primary school, but with a bit of a twist associated with it.
I wonder if it's like, we used to have these things, it was called like a pixie stick, and it was a straw full of candy, flavored sugar, and you bit the end off and then you poured it out in your mouth, something like that. I wonder. I don't know.
Yeah, the musk sticks. I know those ones, and there was a musk flavored one here in Australia. But a musk, I should have actually bought some from the supermarket. But they're literally a straw about this long. They're a pinker, fleshy color. That's not representative of the normal color, but we wanted a bit more bang for the buck. And they're sweet and they're nice and they're addictive, and you eat too much and you get too fat. So we've got this. This is currently the highest selling vodka on Mountain Distillery's website.
Wow.
We took an order the other day for 2,500 bottles to go to China. And I'll be honest, it's that logo just there which sells them,
I guess. And I understand you're just begging for forgiveness on the logo, right?
I have a license to use that.
Yeah,
logo.
Yes, we do too. Yeah.
Yes, you have a license to use that logo.
Yeah.
Hence why it does have the entire logo on it.
Yeah.
And
well, so here's the question. I already asked you this once. How many cases do we have to buy to get some shipped here?
I spoke to Mountain Distillers. We need an order of 218 bottles in total. That's all, and we can ship, because it's got to be a layer on the pallet, apparently.
And okay, so we can talk about this offline, but it's probably a pipe dream. But we need to find out what shipping is, and how much of the bottles did you say?
So the bottles are $85, including shipping,
$5
less Tesla Owners Club discount of $10 a bottle, so $75, including shipping in Australia. We can bring the price down to help cover shipping.
Okay, well, I don't know whether we can dispose of 218 bottles, but send me the info. We should take a poll. We'll take a poll within the club.
Hang on, you said you had over 1,000 members. Trust me, you'll see. 200 bottles won't be a problem.
Yeah.
We sold 300 and something bottles in the first 2 days that I announced it.
Oh wow, amazing!
So
amazing.
That might be a reflection of Australians. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
But and a lot of inquiry, and we taste tested the bottle at the Christmas function, and and everybody that had one just went, "Wow, I've never tasted anything like that. I love it."
Well, here's some comments already. We do have a Q&A where people can post comments. Someone's already said they'll take one. Someone else says, "Well, let's just make a trip down there and drink it instead." So, yeah,
I can see that, George. You're welcome. Come on down.
Yeah.
And I see Catherine is currently visiting family in Macedon. That means, Catherine, you are about 20 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. I'm in the town of Kyneton, which is part of the Macedon Ranges anyway. So there you go.
So she's asking, do you have any events there in the next few months?
In the next few months, absolutely we do. We've got, I'd need to jump online to see what Dr. Mark, our Victorian president, has arranged already. But I know we do have a Heathcote Park race day coming up. We also have some, let me hop on.
You post all this stuff on your own website?
Yes, all of our events are up on our website, which is teslaowners.org.au.
So there you go, Catherine. I'm not sure if you're on this call, but I'll...
We do have, if Catherine, if you're around on March the 4th, there's a very large car event down in Geelong, the Geelong Revival. Our members are displaying cars. Some of them are racing cars. I'll be racing down there again, trying to protect my record.
Catherine's definitely still here, so you can speak to her directly.
Fantastic, Catherine. Jump onto teslaowners.org.au/events, and that will show you. There's more events going up because at the moment we've only got a few things coming up in WA that have been posted. But I know that, what's the date? Yes, in 9 days' time, there's an event, and since you're in Macedon, this is nice and close, at a gin distillery. Yes, alcohol again with Teslas. I don't know what it is, but we're doing a tasting of Animus Gin, which is a wonderful little distillery in Kyneton, Central Victoria. And it's even more wonderful because it's about 150 metres from my front door. But we've got that event coming up as well, which is full tasting plates of all their gins and the like. We also, and that actually starts with the drive in Melbourne to come back here. And there's a number of other things as well. And no, George, there are no issues with crocodiles near superchargers. We don't go that far north yet.
Hey, people are piping in here. I'll take two. I'll go for one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Look,
3
trust
bottles.
me on this.
Wicked.
We'll find a way, John, to get a shipment over to you.
All right.
And
well, okay, well, let's, maybe that's a good transgression. Go to your, so you're talking about racing. So talk about that.
Okay. So, all right. So my background in racing, I was, racing's in the blood. For anybody who has been involved in motorsport, you'll know that it's a terrific money pit. And it's highly addictive sport to be involved in. I started racing when I was in my teens, and I started road racing motorcycles to the point that I raced the Australian Championships in 1990, and I missed out on a start in the World Championships by 1 point, unfortunately. Then I got into cars a bit more, and during the .com days, for those of us old enough to be in .com. It was a wonderful time for making a lot of money and losing a lot of money. And I started club racing a couple of Ferraris that I had. And a friend of mine and I basically retired back in 2000 and would go to Eastern Creek, our local racetrack, every couple of weeks and spend way too much money maintaining Ferraris. For a point of trivia, a gearbox rebuild on a Ferrari 348 Challenge Speciale, which is my little car that I had, is $38,000.
Wow.
So yeah. So we did that, and then we've got into playing around with the Tesla, and there's a photo there, John, that I sent through to you. I can bring it up and hold it up because I'm not a great user of tech. Sorry, I'll see if I can bring it up. And it brings laughs because we had a track day at a track called Luddenham. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah. Which model is that? A P85D or?
No, that's my Model SP 100D that we talked a little bit more about. That car I raced that at the Geelong Revival 2 years ago, the last time it was there. It won the Open Division and finished third outright. The only two cars that beat it was a stripped out Porsche Turbo racing car on slicks and lightened, and a $800,000 Porsche GT2 RS Carbon Edition.
Wow. Did you do any mods to it, Mark?
Not really. Okay, it doesn't have an interior in the back of it, and it still doesn't, but we'll get into that. And I put some unplugged performance UP2s wheels on it with brand new wider tyres.
So you didn't do anything to springs or shocks or anything, or? No.
The Geelong Revival it's an interesting event. It's not allowed to be called a drag race because that's not gentlemanly, but it's a quarter-mile curved.
Oh wow!
So which makes it fun because all the drag cars that turn up there can't get around the corner. So they have to slow down. So it's a celebration of everything automobile, and they closed the foreshore of Geelong. So Geelong's a bayside city around Port Phillip Bay, down the southwestern end of Port Phillip Bay, and they closed the Esplanade there and hold races. And it's both the most thrilling and most frightening race track I've ever been on, because you accelerate from standstill and it's a big sweeping right-hand bend, and then you go through start-finish posts a quarter mile later at 200 kilometres an hour, and they seem very close together.
But
You
Mark,
then-
Mark, is it like a drag race where there's only 2 cars at a time, or?
There's only one car at a time.
Oh, so it's timed. It's like a hill
It's
climb,
timed.
sort of. It's
Yeah, it's timed.
like a hill climb.
Yeah, except it's very similar to that in concept, but it's a flat curved
Okay.
track, and then once you go through the start finish line, and this is a very weak point for Teslas, you've got 200 meters to stop or you hit the wall.
Yeah.
or you go flying around the bend, hopefully around the bend, and there's no one in the way. So in the P100D, you'd cross the start finish line at in excess of 200 kilometers an hour. You would then have to hit the brakes. The car would take 160 meters to stop, or to slow down to 60, enough to make the corners. So when we get the plat out there, when it finally arrives here, I don't know if it's going to be able to pull up in time unless I upgrade.
Well, now you're going to have to get the carbon brake package.
You're right. It looks very similar to the Unplugged Performance carbon brake package, doesn't it?
But how did you find the car, though? I mean, the Plaid, you'll be all right. But the other, prior to the Plaid, there's a power loss after numerous high-speed runs, right?
But that's where the EV plays really well into the rules of the Geelong Revival. Geelong Revival, it's against the rules to refuel in the pit. So no one's allowed to top up their fuel. So they've got to go there with a relatively full tank and do their runs for the day. So what you do is you do your run, and then they corral you, and then because the only way back was to drive backwards back down the racetrack. So they group you and send you through. Just where they corral you just happened to be a publicly available 32 amp 3-phase outlet. So I would do my run, go and plug in, and then join the second group back so that I had enough time to top up my battery. The other thing I did is I took one of our portable batteries from the business along with me as well. So we took what we called an energy trolley, which is an 11 kilowatt hour battery inverter solution that's on wheels because it's bloody heavy. And we kept that in the pits. So after I'd top up to 100% on the 3-phase, I'd then drive the car back in and then plug it into our own charger, which was only a 15 amp 230 volt charger, but it was enough to keep the car at 100% with the battery heater on and the car in Ludicrous Plus mode. And that stayed that way for the whole day with us topping it up. So it maintained at 100% for maximum performance the whole day.
That portable battery pack, is it lithium ion batteries in there?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's 11 kilowatt hour of lithium ion cells and an inverter attached to it, and obviously some chargers, and it actually has inbuilt solar chargers.
We could probably chat here for hours, but so what do you use those for in the business?
So that was a proof of concept around grid stabilization solutions for rural communities in Australia. So in Oz, we use for our more remote and rural areas, we use what we call swirl lines, and a swirl line means single wire earth return. Now, when you go for your drive in the country, you look up and you'll normally see 3 wires overhead for the power. And then you get more remote and you see that there's only 1 wire, and that's a swirl line. So it relies on the earth to return the energy back. These are highly unreliable and unstable. And one of our proof of concepts was for this young lass neighbour of one of our team who breeds chickens for a living. And she would forever lose her stock, because the incubator would switch off because the power would go out regularly. So we wheeled one over to her place, plugged it into her normal power point, plugged her incubator into the trolley, and let her go. And I saw her 2 weeks later at a Christmas party. This is going back a few years, and she's dancing around, smiling, very happy. And I thought, "What's going on, Caitlin?" And she said, "I'm having a ball with my energy cube because the power keeps going out," because it was a particularly hot summer, so the power goes out a lot. And as power keeps going out, And I decided, and the only reason I knew was because I'd hear my next door neighbour swear and then turn on their generator. And so she invited them over for a cup of tea. And with, can you hear my generator going on? Which of course they couldn't because she was running on batteries. So that's what that one was used for.
No more dead chickens.
No more dead chickens. So happy chickens, happy farmer. And then we also we built another one as a proof of concept. I'll see if I can grab the photo here. Yeah, my highly sophisticated technology use here, guys. Yes, I run a tech company, but that's okay. We also built that as a proof of concept energy cube. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So that little box there is charging 2 Teslas concurrently. I mean, we're all Tesla owners, so we know that's a little bit of marketing BS because it would only add 10 kilometers to each car before it went flat, but that's not its purpose. That's a device that we use to stabilize grids and help eliminate energy poverty, which is actually our business mission, which we can get into in a moment. So
amazing.
So the energy is a wonderful thing. Maybe we should start talking a little bit about that. What do you reckon, John?
Yeah, for sure. So the only racing you've been doing, and not the only racing, but the P100D, and you still use that as a race car, or is it also your daily driver?
It's used as our work car. It's loaded up all the time. So it's probably one of the least cherished Teslas in the world. So I'll go into the background of the car and we'll get there. But basically, the car itself has no interior from the front seats backwards. It has a wooden floor with tie-down points so that I can cart batteries around. And which shocks a lot of people because I literally throw things into the back of it. And that's more my daily driver. I've been driving that one 2 years now. It's now got 155,000 kilometers, I think, on it. I am a high mileage driver. I do at least I've averaged 200 kilometers every day for the last 6.5 years since I got my first Tesla.
Wow.
So I'll get into Edison and what happened. So Edison is a energy storage R&D company. We do a lot of work with defense. We're currently building what's called a PVTS facility, which is a positive vetting, top secret facility for doing defense work that obviously that's as much as I can say, but for doing certain defense work around energy storage that we do. And we're currently in the process of designing a cell manufacturing facility and supply chain for Australia.
That just for the military?
No. That's it for the world's largest lithium-ion project, storage project, is Australian, but most people don't realise, even though we are backward and our Prime Minister loves to carry pieces of coal into the chamber.
Are you talking about the big, massive Megapack thing that Tesla did?
No, that's a baby compared to what we're talking about.
Oh, wow.
So the largest battery in the Southern Hemisphere is 350 megawatt hours. It's just outside of Geelong again. And prior to that, the largest one in the world was the 100 megawatt hour Tesla Power Reserve in Hornsdale that we all went out to. And there's an interesting story on that one too. But Elon came out to open that officially. That's now grown to 150 megawatt hours. The current 350 megawatt hour is tiny in comparison to what a company called Sun Cable is attempting to do. So Sun Cable is a concept that is the world's largest solar and battery facility. Its intent is to generate solar energy, store that, and export energy to Singapore via one very, very large cable. What's publicly known about the project is that they plan on a battery next to their facility that is 100 times the size of the world's largest battery.
Wow.
So it's a 36 gigawatt hour battery. Their plan is to transmit the energy to Darwin at the north of Australia, where they will have a stabilisation battery of some 800 megawatt hours, two and a bit times the size of the biggest one in Australia already. Then it will go into an undersea cable, run along the seabed, pop out across an island in Indonesia, pop back underwater, and then pop out at an island just south of Singapore. That's it's a 1.7 gigawatt power supply in its total power. Yet Singapore has now put out an RFP for 4 gigawatts of power going into the country, which is 20% of the overall supply. And it's so there's some big stuff going on at the moment.
Where are the batteries going to be coming from? Is that what you're saying? You're looking at building them locally there?
Yes, part of it will be locally. There's a number of organisations looking at building locally. We're in discussions with a couple of major cell manufacturers at the moment to pick our right partner. But there are other companies. We're a foundation partner with another company that's also building one. The demand in Australia for lithium-ion storage is about 200 gigawatt hours per annum, and current manufacturing levels are around about 1 or 2 megawatt hours. So basically, we're in this interesting and novel situation where there won't be enough factories making cells in Australia for at least 5 years. So we're one of the companies hoping to solve that problem. So that's very quickly a starting point on Edison. But I'll go back to where Edison got its name from. And this is, everybody on this call should appreciate this. About 4.5 years ago, about that, 4 years ago actually, a group of us were lamenting the fact that Ford and General Motors had stopped manufacturing cars in Australia. Now, Australia has its own unique vehicle called a ute. Do you know what a ute is?
Probably like a Jeep type of thing.
No, it's not. It's the combination of a sedan front and a truck back.
Oh, okay. It's like, I saw those when we were down actually in New Zealand, and they had them here years ago. The Ford Ranchero and the Chevy El Camino. So it's sort of a car in front, pickup in the back. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's the one. Let me see if I can get a photo up. There you go. There's a ute.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not your dual cab. It's not your pickup truck. It's not anything like that. And Aussie, it's the prestige car for Aussie tradies. Puts donking big supercharged V8s in them. 427 kilowatt, I think, was the last one. And going into a live axle rear end with no weight over the back. So, yeah, they're a bit of fun. And but we were lamenting the fact that because there were no Australian manufacturers, you could never buy a ute again. We'd be stuck with Hiluxes and F-150s and things like that, which weren't the Australian way. So we decided, there was a group of Tesla owners got together, and back then Tesla owners were all Model S owners, of course, and we decided that we would make one, and we'd make our own ute, and as you do, and so we decided that not only would we make our own ute, we would make the world's fastest ute, because we could. And so I went and ordered the Model S P100D Ludicrous Plus, a brand spanking new Tesla, fastest Tesla that was available at the time, with the sole intent to move it into a workshop and chop half of it up. And so we rolled it into we got the car, drove it home, rolled it into a panel shop, and proceeded in dismantling it. We then went off and decided that we'd go and have a look at other things about, if we were to do this, how to go into production. And we went over to Geneva and we met with Matt A. Rimac, if you're all familiar with Rimac and these hypercars. Yeah. So we went over to Croatia and met with him and his team as well about supplying drive units and BMSs and batteries for us, and proceeded to dismantle this car. Now, fortunately, just before I put a grinder to the roof, we had some conversations with the engineers about, making sure that it still passed inspections, etc. And they told us that we would have to crash test the vehicle 3 times to get it certified and registered. And I said, but this is a one-off proof of concept. I don't really want to smash it to pieces and spend $1 million crashing cars. And we got as far as the Western Australian government, because they are a little bit radical at times, said basically that they would register the vehicle if Tesla signed off that us stretching the wheelbase would be okay and not impact safety. So because us as a club, being a national club, we have a really good relationship with Tesla, and I personally know the entire executive team here. And so I reached out to Tesla to say, can we stretch the wheelbase? And unfortunately, that went as far as Fremont, and Fremont said no. But in the meantime, we were talking about the project, and they needed a name for it. So I turned around and named it Project Edison. Can anyone work out why I would call it Project Edison?
Well, Edison was a pioneer in the power.
No, we were modifying a Tesla. Edison stole all of Tesla's good ideas. So we named the project Edison because we were stealing all of Tesla's really good stuff to do what we wanted. That name went to Fremont as well. So it became known in Tesla as Project Edison. But unfortunately, we couldn't stretch it. But what we learned is during all that research into the battery management systems and looking at what's happening globally, we realized we're at the dawn of dot energy. Now, as I mentioned before, I had a lot of fun in .com. I made a lot of money and I lost a little bit more than I made, but that's okay. And we realized that dot energy was upon us. And in the way that .com completely changed the way the world communicates, dot energy is going to completely, over the next decade, change the way the world generates, stores, uses, and importantly, distributes energy. And we decided that it was too exciting a place to not be. And so we moved the team across into energy. And at the same time, I had some conversations with some people which started our mission. We had dinner with the head cleric from Iraq not long after Saddam had fallen. And he was talking about energy stability throughout the Middle East and through Afghanistan and the like. And the people were very unhappy because they didn't have stable energy. And that was where I ideated the Energy Cube, because I realized that I could very simply develop an appliance, shall we call it, that could be plugged in by the layman and used to stabilize that premises energy. And then we realized that using one of these boxes, I could plug it into solar and I could give energy to anyone. And as a result of that, our mission for Edison has become the eradication of energy poverty. What most people don't realize is about 25% of the world don't have electricity or access to stable electricity. One of our neighbours, Papua New Guinea, where we're doing a lot of our initial work, 13.8% of the population have electricity. The rest don't. There's a multi-billion-dollar fund to give a higher percentage of Papua New Guinea electricity, and they want to move that 13.8% by spending over $10 billion to 70% of the population with electricity. And we sat down over our wines going, well, that's pretty shit, pardon me. 30% of the population still won't get electricity. And so we looked at the models they were using. They were using traditional models of you build transmission lines and send electricity to a grid, a local grid. or you truck diesel in and run a generator. And we said, well, neither of those will work, and neither of those will work in remote communities. So we set out and developed a rapidly deployed self-install, so the owners of the dwellings can actually install it themselves, electrification solution. And that's our mission. So we're working with a number of volunteer organisations. We're working with the United Nations Tech Bank, and their challenge was a good one. There's a little village called Semenanyana in Lesotho. Most people don't know where Lesotho is. So it's a little tiny country, landlocked country, surrounded by the country of South Africa. It's basically a mountain range that no one can get up to, and the people there have no energy at all, because the only way to get to Semenanyana, for example, is by horseback or helicopter, and that in itself means the village will never get electricity, because you can't run a transmission line up the side of the cliff cost effectively for 30 houses, and you can't ship in diesel fuel cost effectively. So they've presented us with a challenge of electrifying that village using a solar battery arrangement. The benefits it brings is, of course, lighting for safety, the number one. Interestingly, they don't want refrigerators in there. I thought, because I would have been like, I think everybody on this call going, oh, well, you're shipping a refrigerator to keep the food fresh. Their supply chains means their food is fresh anyway, so they don't need the fridges. But we're looking at doing a Wi-Fi system as well, using either Starlink or another satellite service. So they'll get the energy in there. The cost of running transmission lines is in the tens of millions of dollars. The ongoing cost of flying diesel fuel in there runs to more than $1 million a year for the village. The cost of installing our solution and running that village for 10 to 15 years is $280,000. So,
amazing, Mark. So where are you with that?
Unfortunately, COVID has put a 2-year delay on us getting out there. We're about to send equipment over to a high school in New Ireland province called NASCO, and we're electrifying the high school. So in this little village in New Ireland province of Papua New Guinea, their school is literally a couple of buildings with no power. And so we've decided we would donate 4 solutions for them. So each classroom will get its own power. And we're also donating some overhead projectors. You remember those ones that we used to have 30 years ago with the texter that you'd write on and it would beam it up on the wall? So that's wonderful modern technology for these guys. So, we can get those for next to nix, and we'll be shipping some of those over for the school as well. So there's that one. We also have a subcommittee working on Nepal, because there's a few people. I don't know if you've heard of Twiggy Forrest, who's a very successful miner in Australia. His daughter Gracie is on a campaign to eliminate modern slavery, and her focus area is Nepal. And so we've got her and former Premier Borbidge and a few others on our committee for Nepal to electrify a village there as another pilot as well. So our intent is to work with agencies. We're not a charity unto ourselves, but we don't make money on those. We just cover our costs, and work with them to eliminate energy poverty. And that's the big thing that's brought my team together. So
amazing. So how do you see that? So Edison right now, though, is primarily we're on the most of your revenue and time is on the military side, and you're ramping up the. Most of our value is derived from military at the moment. Yep, and but that's okay. It's a means. It's a journey. So our defence team consists of 4 of the highest ranking former officers in the Australian Defence Force, who have all come on board. That's 2 generals and 2 colonels that have all come on board because of the energy poverty mission that we're on. And what that means is that we can walk into any defence facility and somebody knows one of my team.
which is a nice handy thing to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, the guys on our defence team, former commanding officer, 1st Royal Australian Regiment, the guy that actually went to Timor-Leste and ran the peacekeeping so that they could have their first election. The guy that ran Australia's troops in Afghanistan, the other one that ran our troops in Iraq, another one that started Northrop Grumman division in Australia and grew that from 4 people to 800 people. So they're a good, strong team, and it's this mission that brings our entire company together.
Amazing. So now I know why when I look on our chats that sometimes you're up at 3 a.m. there or something, trying to juggle everything.
Trying to keep everything going. I've actually, and my chief of staff, who's also my partner, has told me that she's going to take my laptop away from me for 3 days over Christmas. I don't know how she's going to achieve that, but I've always got something hidden away somewhere else I can pull out. But no. Look, we're in a amazingly fast growth phase of the business now, and we're dealing with fundamentally changing Australia's manufacturing capabilities as part of what we're doing. So, I don't get a great deal of sleep and time, but it's good. On the plus side, I'm now in a position where we can pick up the phone and basically everybody answers it. So we're getting there. And, our big thing that we say regularly to each other is we're looking forward to the day we fly over, for example, Papua New Guinea, and we look down and we see the lights on.
Amazing.
So that's the big one. That's the thing that's going to we'll be happy about. So
just off topic here, back to one that somebody else posted. We may have a hard time getting the vodka here. We have a Liquor Control Board of Ontario, and you cannot. I'll do some more research, but I don't think you can bring in a quantity of alcohol without going through them.
So what Mountain Distillers have done in the past, they've got a distributor located in the US,
right?
And they go through them. And in the same with China, it goes to a distributor. And maybe what we need to do is find a Canadian distributor that's willing to import them, and make a small margin. So that's the way you can bring them in.
Well, I'll set up a little company on the side.
Hey, there you go. You'll be paid in these.
Yeah, there you go. So listen, also briefly, are you still renting sort of properties, sort of like Airbnb type properties, and providing a Tesla?
Yes, we are. We've got, unfortunately, as everyone can see up there, we have storm damage in one of the B&Bs, which is where I am at the moment. So they're currently parked, particularly with COVID as well, but they will be ramping up again with access to a Tesla. And we've got 4 destination charges out the back here, and there's another property that's going to open up down Bayside as well soon, but I've just got to do some work on.
But when people rent the property, they have a Model 3 there or something, right?
It's an option for them, yes.
Okay, I see.
So if you want to have a nice green weekend, you can.
Cool.
You can grab the Model 3. There's also a leasing company as well that's doing some work around. The New South Wales government just released a lot of incentives in a reverse auction format for fleet managers. If you know what you're doing, we can actually help those fleet managers get the best rebates.
Cool.
Just a service. A friend of mine and I that are working on Edison, he's just coming into the fold. He actually set up the New South Wales government's reverse auction, so he knows how it works.
Do you have what do you have there in Australia in the way of government rebates for EVs?
From a federal perspective, absolutely zero. I mean, when your Prime Minister walks into the chambers with carrying coal, telling people not to be scared, I think that sets it up for you. But the states themselves are going to do the work anyway. So so just ones that I know offhand, in the ACT, you get we have this wonderful concept called stamp duty when you buy a motor vehicle. I don't know if you have it, but the ACT has waived stamp duty on electric vehicles for years, to the point that when I bought my first Tesla, I drove it from Sydney, where I was at the time, to Canberra, and registered the car there to save $8,500 in stamp duty.
How does stamp duty compare to sales tax? We have sales tax on everything here, including vehicles.
Okay, so stamp duty, similar, but it applies to certain transactions like your house sale.
Okay.
And things like that. We do have a goods and services tax of 10% as well.
Yeah, ours is 13.5.
Ours will go up, I know. As soon as one politician has enough to do it, they all want to do it. So they do that. ACT also has a $15,000 interest-free loan to buy anything green. They're the most forward-thinking. They've got rebates of I think $5,000 on electric vehicles as well. Interestingly, they've also committed to 100% electric vehicles in the government fleet by the end of next year. The challenge. Well, you'll feel the irony here. They've made that commitment. It's legalized. It's happening, except 90% of their fleet are Toyota Hiluxes or dual cab utilities.
Oh.
There is no dual cab utility available in Australia, electric utility available in Australia before 2025.
Yeah.
So another friend of mine has ordered 6 megawatt hours of storage a month from us to do EV conversions.
Yeah.
So he'll be converting their fleet at 100 vehicles a month.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, sorry. Yeah.
Here's some questions. Some are sort of on topic, some off. Do you know offhand what's the source breakdown? In other words, where the various Teslas that are sold in Australia come from? How many come from China versus the US, et cetera? Do you know? Like which models, et cetera?
100% come from China. We moved to Chinese Model 3s a year and a bit ago only. And currently in Australia, you cannot take delivery of a Model S or a Model X, and the Model Y is not released yet. So 100%.
Model 3 is the only vehicle sold. So S or X, I mean, they've just started delivering those here. S only, not X, not yet. But if they do open that back up, for now, they're obviously going to be only coming from Fremont because that's where they come from. But
yeah.
Okay.
So our expectation is that our S's and X's will continue coming from Fremont, because I don't see the Chinese factory ramping up to those. I do see the Model Y coming out of China for Australia. It was a really interesting period when the announcement was made that we were going to a Chinese vehicle. A lot of people were trying to hurry their orders to get the US car, I'm talking to Canadians, so this is okay. The quality of the Chinese car outstrips the American car.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're hearing. So somebody's asking here, do you know, are they all LFP batteries?
The standard range and long range are LFP. The performance are not.
Right.
So okay. I'd need to check on the long range too. I think the long range is transitioning to LFP, but that the others aren't. And interestingly, LFP makes a lot of sense for the standard range because you can charge it to 100% every day.
Right.
So your effective range in the vehicle isn't that short of a long range charge to 90%.
Yes, yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
So from that perspective, it's actually, it's an interesting place to be. The paint quality on the Chinese car is far superior because California have their particular pollution requirements, which means the paint on a car is thinner and more likely to chip and mark than the Chinese paint because China doesn't care.
Yeah.
And I think I had James Middleton, who is the fleet manager for Tesla, called me after the first Model 3s arrived from China to say that he had 5 cars sitting in front of him and he could not fault one of them, either for paint, finish, or gaps.
Wow.
So, and James is anal. That's why I like him when it comes to cars. And he couldn't fault it.
And when do you think you'll see Model Y? I mean, is Model Y being made in China now?
Yes, it is. They're going to Hong Kong.
Too long. I think they're getting it in the UK already.
So my little birdies had said that there was going to be coming out this quarter here in Australia. New South Wales introduced some new incentives, which meant that everybody with the Model 3 delayed their deliveries to get the incentive. I believe that's had an influence on when the release date of the Model Y is, because the expectation is, as in most markets, when the Model Y is released, it cannibalizes the Model 3 sales. And so they're loath to announce the Model Y yet. We think it's going to come out next quarter, and the prediction that I made several years ago to our then country director Kurt Slosher, and I repeated to Tom, who's our new country director, is I fully expect that you will have a boatload of Model Ys on its way to Australia, if not about to dock in port, before you open reservations, and then you'll be delivering them a couple of weeks later. And I'm still sticking with that one as my prediction. And the logic is quite simple. If the Model Y will cannibalize the Model 3, you're not going to announce it until the last possible moment. Otherwise, you will lose those Model 3 sales.
Yeah, makes sense.
So next quarter, I think the Model Ys will arrive, and no, that's one of the vehicles I don't have reserved.
Well, here's somebody asking about tariffs. They feel that they have a friend down there and feels that you have exorbitantly high tariffs, and that's making the prices out of whack compared to other parts of the world. Is that true? And what have you heard about?
We have this ludicrous tax called a luxury car tax. Luxury car tax is 30% whacked on top of the value of the car above $68,000.
Wow.
So
what's a Model 3 there now?
Pardon?
How much is a Model 3 there now?
Driveway 60,000 for a standard range.
Okay, so there's no luxury tax on that. But as soon as you go to all-wheel drive or performance,
I paid $40-something thousand in luxury car tax on my first Model S, and on the second one, I might just pop out and go into my Tesla for a moment whilst we're talking, and see how much I paid for in luxury car tax. Give you a bit of a breakdown on my final invoice. So it's our taxes are fairly high, but importantly though, Tesla, when they ship a car to another country, are only adding on the shipping fees. They're not adding on what we nicknamed the Australia tax. And the Australia tax was the your BMW, your Mercedes, etc., add extra in just by virtue, they claim, because it's a right-hand drive market, it's a small market, when Tesla have proven you don't need to do that. So on our Model S P100D, we paid $235,000, for it. Luxury car tax was $33,000. Stamp duty was $11,500.
Wow.
Registration, $40.
Huh.
So our on-road fees totaled just shy of $45,000.
Unreal. Well, and then someone else is asking about EV road tax. Is it the same thing, or is there a higher EV road tax there?
I live in the only jurisdiction in the world that is actively taxing electric vehicles.
Wow.
So we have what's called a road user charge in Victoria. It applies to one of my cars because it's Victorian registered. The other one, as I said before, is ACT registered. And I will shortly be transferring the 100 to Canberra as well to avoid this road user charge. So we get to pay 2 cents or 3 cents a kilometre driven in an electric car.
How do they track that?
We'll get there in a moment. It's ridiculous. So, but it's per kilometre driven, even if I'm driving in another state. So not just the state of Victoria. They will tax me for driving in New South Wales. They'll tax me for driving on Norfolk Island. They'll tax me for, they don't care. They'll tax me.
Oh, is this because their justification is they're not getting the fuel taxes that people would be? Yeah.
Yep. And what they've done is they've attacked the electric vehicle market now to get, whilst the percentage of ownership is low, so that they can get the tax through. And so, yeah, so they do that. Now, I have a very good friend of mine who's one of the executives at Vic Roads, which is our state licensing. When this was first announced, I wrote to him, I sent him a quick text going, how the F are you ever going to manage this? Because you can't even, when they register an electric vehicle in Victoria, you get $300 off your annual registration. The only way they can do that is they have to manually go in car by car and adjust the registration fee because they have no system that can deal with it. And I asked him, how are you going to possibly do road user charges if you don't have access to people's speedos, you've got no system that can even work today. I got a very formal response from him basically saying, I can't talk to you about this. And the way the Victorian government has issued it is that an owner of an electric vehicle has to take a photo of their speedo and submit it to the Vic Roads office. Every year you take a photo of your speedo and submit it. They calculate how many kilometres you've done and they send you a bill. And that's their road user charge. Absolutely ridiculous in both.
Well, what's to stop you from taking a picture today and then another one 2 months later and then using that a year later and saying that was your mileage?
Well, obviously I don't endorse these behaviours, but I know of several of our members who simply switched their speedos over to miles per hour and took a photo of that. So therefore they'll be paying 60% less road user charges when they submit their next mileage. Yeah. I know of another owner who submitted their odometer reading with it showing clearly dashes across the odo. And if you know how to do, any Model S or X owner can do this. If you reset both your MCU and your binnacle at the same time, the binnacle comes back first, but it needs the MCU to tell it how many kilometres the car has driven. So it comes up blank. So I know of another owner who submitted a blank one. And then I know of another owner who has a vehicle registered, one vehicle that he doesn't drive and another vehicle that's driven daily. And he submitted the mileage of the vehicle he doesn't drive that's registered in another state. And then we'll resubmit that as well. So there's a little
can of worms.
Yeah. It's a silly thing to have done. And particularly given it's a Labor government, which are normally pro the environment, and so
amazing.
It's stupid. Is
somebody's saying, are any of your members involved in sharing their Teslas for community projects?
Individually, yes. There's a few that loan their cars out. We have one member that's an ongoing community project in himself, which is Daniel Bleakley. Daniel's here you go, people. Please Google or go to YouTube and look up coal miners driving Teslas. It's his YouTube station. It is the funniest YouTube station you will see, particularly the early videos. So a couple of years ago, we did Bob Brown, who's a very well-known politician here, a Greenie, did an anti-Adani mine run where we drove a lot of cars up to Claremont in Queensland, which is the nearest town to Adani's earth-killing coal mine, and copped a lot of flack. Daniel grew up in the town of Claremont, and his parents own the local fossil fuel distributorship. His uncle owns the North Queensland rights to fossil fuels. He's a member of Extinction Rebellion and a greenie at the core. He drove his Model 3 back to Claremont, and because he's not well liked in Claremont, he gave the car to his brother and said, "Go and take your mates for a ride." So Daniel owns a performance Model 3. And if you go to coal miners driving Teslas and have a look at the dudes there, you know, the first guy's got his long red hair and beard, missing half his teeth. And if you don't like obscenities, don't turn the volume up. But it's basically a whole heap of coal miners getting into a Tesla and experiencing what an electric vehicle is. And he's done that to break down the barriers of ownership and to separate EV from green and everything else, to say that these cars are what's necessary, regardless if you like cars. They're a good car. And he then proceeded in traveling down the East Coast. He's put in all manner of politicians, of high profile sports people and the like, and he keeps putting them in his car and letting them go for a drive and spreading the word that way. He's a great guy, and spreading the word and doing a community service by doing so.
Fab.
Yeah.
The batteries for Edison that you're using now, are they sourced locally, or are you getting stuff from China? And are you?
Unfortunately, like 90% of the world, we're currently restricted to getting cells out of China.
Okay.
That's why we want to build a cell manufacturing facility. And the unique part about Australia is that we have every mineral required to build lithium-ion batteries except cobalt in country already. So we don't have to import, we don't have to rely on a global supply chain. We have mines in the ground here, we have refineries. So there's no reason why Australia shouldn't be making it.
I agree.
Yeah.
What else we got here? Do you see significant future constraints of battery components such as chips, lithium, and graphite?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I think lithium, if we talk about lithium for a moment, there's enough lithium in the ground to meet the world's demand for quite some time. The issue is the speed at which it can be extracted. So there's supply chain issues with lithium coming up. There's already supply chain issues with cobalt and the like. So we as an organisation are currently our R&D facility out in Bayswater is experimenting with kinetic storage and gravitational storage as well. So we're looking at non-chemical storage and alternative chemical storages as well, because I think if you put all your eggs in the lithium-ion basket, you're going to run into supply chain issues pretty quickly unless you have a government that's backing you.
How many employees would you have?
At the moment, we're just sitting at 25. Whilst we're building the factory will employ about 1,200 people. Wow. Across the recycling plant and the integration facilities. The cell manufacturing itself is fairly automated. That's the only way we can get the prices right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the study that we put together, we had EY put together, says that the industry will create our facilities upstream, downstream, about 80,000 jobs all up, and with an economic benefit in the trillions of dollars for the country. So we got, we're playing a big game.
Yeah. This other person is asking, in your experience, what are the best energy storage options for homes, communities, and industry?
That's kind of a little bit of a piece of string question, right? Depends on what your requirements are. Do you need fast release? Are you stabilizing grids or supplies, in which case you need lithium? Do you need a cost-effective solution? You might be looking at pumped hydro or gravitational. For home at the moment, storage is lithium-ion. There's some work going on with flow batteries. Flow batteries, their volume is an issue because obviously you need twice as much volume as you have material, so that you can pump from one tank to the other. We're working on a new membrane that means you could keep it all in basically the one tank, and the membrane, the tank internal dimensions of the tank changes, which would make a flow battery better for the home. It's also safer because they don't catch fire; they only melt. So yeah, it's a difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
Just like that, without more. My main advice to people is don't just buy the first battery that comes along. Have a look at what your needs are. Have a look what your risk threshold is. There are certain batteries on the market that people put in their garages, but if they accidentally backed into it, it would take out their house pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So have a good think about that, and also look at the upstream costs. What's the inverter going to cost? Do you need a solar charger built into it? Do you want it to operate off grid or not? Australia's had some pretty interesting, Australian households have had some interesting lessons with the bulk. Like Australia is a very large solar installer, our homes, the highest uptake in the world, which makes sense with the sun. A lot of people have put the batteries on, but what they didn't realise is that their solar and their batteries aren't directly connected. And so the solar pumps energy back into the grid, and then the grid then flows into the house and charges the battery and runs the house until there's a blackout. If that's the case and you have a bushfire go through, you lose access to the grid. And if there's no grid, those houses can't charge their batteries. So be mindful of getting a solution that can run off grid, i.e. the solar charges the battery directly.
Well, Powerwall does that, does it not?
The new Powerwall 2 does. Yes, yeah. The new Powerwall, the older ones couldn't.
Which we don't, basically are almost impossible to get here, but anyhow.
What, the Powerwall 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Powerwall, period. Tesla doesn't have an official presence here. There's a couple of distributors that can get Powerwall, but we don't have Tesla Energy physically up and running in Canada.
Well, I find that really interesting. Surprised me.
It's bizarre. Many people ask us that all the time. They were talking about, putting displays in the stores and whatnot, and some even sort of have some vague stuff up there, but they've not physically filled the positions or ramped up for energy. I don't know why. It's weird.
Yeah, we've got a fairly strong energy presence here in Australia. But then again, we have got the Hornsdale Power Reserve at 150 megawatt hours. We've got the Geelong at 350 megawatt hours. So there's a good reason for them to have presence here. Our treasurer, Pete Thorne, is also the largest Powerwall installer in the country, and as well. So so we've got Powerwall's access. My business partner has one of those lovely signed red Powerwalls.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I gave it to him as a gift.
Carl Weaver's asking, do you have pumped hydro storage in Australia?
We have amongst the world's largest pumped hydro in the Snowy Mountains, which is just being extended. So that was built 50-something years ago, and it's being upgraded at the moment.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So look up the Snowy Mountains scheme, and you'll see it. We've actually got a club event was planned to go there and do a tour, and we plan to go back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Mark, we're winding down. That's what I have for questions. I thought you'd be an interesting guy. I've been thinking about this for a while. Hopefully the people on our call here enjoy your stories and your mission. I think, I'm not just blowing smoke. You're doing a lot of admirable things. And I think it's really cool. You're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk. So that's great. And one of these days, if things ever open up, love to come down there. And
well, on that, John, hopefully when all these things open up, we'll actually be able to put on the global summit.
Yeah, you want to have the conference. Yeah,
we'll have a conference here.
Who knows? And, are you going to be on the call on the 16th?
Would you believe I haven't been invited officially to it? I don't think, because I'm not on the Discord.
Well, you should have got it something from Tesla Owners Club. that signed the Tesla team. It's a call for clubs on the 16th, and it's 10 a.m. PST or 1 p.m. PST. If you remind me, I'll forward it to you. You don't even have to sign up. You just click on the link. But
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Depends what time. What time did you say it was?
Well, 10 a.m. Pacific time or 1 p.m. Pacific time. So
something like 1 a.m. or 3 a.m.
Yeah. Well, I'll fill you in anyhow if you don't want it. So listen, we've already had a few people say, one of our executives said he has a client that imports sake and Japanese beer. So he's going to find out if they know how to get the booze in here. And anyhow, there's lots of interest. So it's a little project we can look at. And
look, and I saw someone said, could you utilize it towards the charity fundraising? Absolutely. I mean, it's there for the good. So
yeah, for sure. It's just a matter of getting it. I mean, we ordered we did a winery event, over 3 years ago, and we took one of their wines and just put our label on it. And everybody got a bottle of wine when they went to the winery, and then we bought a couple of cases extra, which we gave away for gifts and stuff. But it is kind of a cool idea. So we'll certainly have a look at that. And I know that we've got Catherine down there, so we should ask her to bring a couple bottles back.
Yep.
And someone else, it said anonymous. I couldn't see who it was, but somebody else in the comments said that they would bring a bottle back.
Yeah, so, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can see that one in front of me. So, but the other thing that we're doing as well to mitigate risk, because at the end of the day, someone at Tesla could decide that this isn't a good idea. But, yeah. So I've told the distillery to give me a dozen bottles, so I can give one each to the leadership team of Tesla Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and most of them know what we're doing. So
yeah. Well, we've said that many times. I mean, being so far from the mothership, and you guys have your own country director and executive team there, it bodes well for you. We're so close to the U.S. We are lucky with a pretty good team here, but everything still has to go through the States in many cases. But
yeah. But I mean, you're far more fortunate than your southern neighbours, because I think it's a lot about culture as well.
Yeah,
and
I'll come back on here so you can see me.
Oh, good, yeah. Thank you. It's as much about culture and the way we do things. So Canadians and Australians have a similar attitude towards life and the way we do business and do things, and it's different coming out of the US. And so I think so our ability to go and grab a beer with the executive team, or pick up the phone and say, we've got a problem here, and it's worked well. Like when we had the MCU1 debacle, we were able to get refunds for our members 6 months before anybody else could, because I negotiated something with Tesla to say, right, this is the story, and Australian protection says this, so let's do that.
And I mean, you and I have talked about this. Norway and the UK are very similar, but as I said, I'm not really complaining, because our local people here have been very good to us. They've done a lot of stuff, sort of beg forgiveness later, and we have a really good relationship, and that's why, hence, supercharger, delivery manager, regional service manager are willing to come out and talk to us. And there's not many other clubs in the US that have been doing that. So I'm just saying that for everybody, we're pretty fortunate. So listen, appreciate it. Thanks very much for coming on. Hopefully everybody found it interesting. We are recording this, so it will be available on our website. Stay in touch with me, my friend. And can anybody find anything out on the web? I know there's not much on Edison, the military side, but what about your energy projects, to help reduce energy poverty? Is there website or anything to do with that in particular?
There's a little bit on there, but just for fun, we're about to undergo a rebranding exercise, because Edison was a fun name when we were taking the mickey out of Tesla with a ute. But unfortunately, Edison, as our growth rate and trajectory has gone, there's this small little California-based utility called Edison, worth about $24 billion. I don't want to go. I don't want to have a branding argument with them, so we're just going to preemptively rebrand, and that's a process that's happening over the next 3 months. So it won't be Edison We will have one product line called Edison, which is Australian designed product that's made in China, which is our bottom end range, and then we'll have our new brand, which I have no idea yet. They've got a workshop on Monday.
Okay.
So to look at that. So, and with that will be the complete revamping, because the website doesn't talk about supply chain, cell manufacturing, our partners, Bosch, LG, and others sort of thing. So it doesn't mention any of those. So it's time. We're coming out of cover now.
Okay. Awesome. Well, listen, again, thanks very much on behalf of myself and the club. Appreciate it. It's like midday, like lunchtime there or whatever for you. So I appreciate you taking some time of your day to come on with us with the time change. And
I hope people found it informative and enjoyed themselves.
Yes, thank you very much. So if anybody who's still watching has any particular questions for Mark, just send them directly to me and I can forward them on to him on anything we've discussed. So again, thanks very much. And I'm sure I'll be chatting with you online, but best of the season to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay. Night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Right.
Bye.
Bye now.